be in Hollywood you never expected. They be having these big mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited in a mother to be at the mansion party. You be looking at all the goddamn rooms, and you around and look in the wrong room. Come here. Is that two niggas kissing? Did you know that I can see you?
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna.
Because if even half of what just got whispered behind closed doors is true, Hollywood might need a new prison wing. Just when people thought the Diddy situation couldn't get darker, messier, or more uncomfortable, 50 Cent and Katt Williams decide to speak. And when those two start talking at the same time, that's not coincidence, that's a warning shot. This isn't some blogger guessing from a couch. This isn't a blurry screenshot with no context. This is two industry veterans basically saying, yeah, he's not going down alone. And the internet froze. Because suddenly, this didn't feel like one man's downfall anymore. It felt like a domino effect, and the table was shaking. Fans didn't gasp. They panicked, group chats went silent. Timelines turned into crime boards. And celebrities started posting inspirational quotes like they were allergic to accountability. This feels like one of those moments you look back on and say, yeah, that's when everything changed. And if you think this is just another headline, because in Hollywood, jokes fly faster than accountability. And when 50 Cent starts posting, people assume it's trolling season. A meme here, a caption there, a laugh, a scroll, and keep it moving. That's how it always starts. But this time, the jokes started landing different. They weren't random. They weren't chaotic for the sake of chaos. They felt aimed. And when jokes stop sounding like jokes, people start sweating quietly. Because 50 Cent doesn't throw darts blindfolded. He throws them after watching the board for years. Fans noticed a shift before the headlines did. The tone got colder. The humor got sharper. The pauses between posts felt intentional. It wasn't loud laughter anymore. It was the kind of laughter you hear right before someone says, yeah, I've been knowing. Then Katt Williams stepped into the conversation. And that's when the room temperature dropped, because Katt doesn't jump into trending topics for fun. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't pile on unless he believes the pile already exists. And when he spoke, it wasn't chaotic energy. It was calm. That calm scared people. Because calm confidence hits harder than shouting ever could. He didn't name names directly. He didn't shout accusations. He didn't need to. He spoke like someone reminding the class of a lesson they ignored, and suddenly, fans weren't laughing anymore. They leaned in, because when two industry veterans, one known for exposing with jokes, the other known for exposing with truth wrapped in comedy, start pointing in the same direction, it doesn't feel accidental. It feels coordinated. Or worse, inevitable. The idea that started spreading wasn't Diddy messed up. That idea was already old. The new idea was much scarier. That Diddy wasn't alone. That what was coming wouldn't stop at one door. That this wasn't a single scandal, it was a chain reaction. And once that thought landed, the internet didn't need evidence to panic. It needed patterns. And patterns started popping up everywhere. Old interviews resurfaced. Past jokes suddenly sounded like warnings. Moments people laughed off years ago started aging like spoiled milk. Fans started saying things like, wait, how did we miss this? Why does this make sense now? Because hindsight is undefeated, the most uncomfortable part. Nobody rushed to shut it down. No emergency statements. No aggressive denials. No legal threats flying across timelines. Just silence. And silence in Hollywood isn't empty. It's calculated. That silence told fans more than any press release ever could. It suggested conversations were happening behind closed doors. Phones were ringing. Lawyers were advising silence, because when powerful people know something might surface, they don't argue. Online, they disappear. And that's when the speculation turned serious. Fans weren't just asking who might be involved, they were asking who might already be nervous, because if what 50 Cent and Katt Williams were hinting at was true, this wasn't about one downfall. It was about a cleanup. And cleanups are never small. People began noticing sudden shifts, celebrities going quiet on social media, others posting vague inspirational quotes about truth and healing, some randomly talking about growth like they just found religion overnight. Nothing direct, nothing provable. But timing is everything. And the timing was loud. The conversation wasn't about guilt anymore. It was about proximity. Who was always around? Who benefited? Who stayed silent for too long? Fans started realizing something uncomfortable. Hollywood doesn't protect people, it protects systems. And systems don't collapse quietly. They crack. They leak. They expose everyone standing too close. When the lights come on, that's when the jokes officially stop being funny, because people remembered something important. Katt Williams has been crazy until he wasn't every single time. 50 Cent has been trolling until the story broke every single time. And suddenly, those patterns mattered. The audience wasn't shocked anymore. They were bracing. Because this felt like the beginning of something that couldn't be contained. Once the idea hit that this situation was bigger than one person, the internet didn't walk toward it. It sprinted. Timelines stopped scrolling and started investigating. Group chats turned into war rooms. And TikTok became a courtroom staffed entirely by people with Wi-Fi and strong opinions. The conversation mutated overnight. This wasn't "did something happen?" anymore. This was how many people knew. And that question is a lot harder to outrun. Every clip involving Diddy from the last 2 decades suddenly felt cursed. Old party footage resurfaced like jump scares in a horror movie. Smiling faces, famous laughs, moments that once looked glamorous now looked suspicious. People started freezing frames like they were looking for hidden messages in a crime documentary. Who was standing next to who? Who disappeared from the camera too fast? Who always seemed protected? And memes exploded because the internet laughs hardest when it's nervous. Jokes about Hollywood group chats getting quiet. Captions saying, "When the afterparty finally has consequences." Posts comparing the situation to a reality show nobody can turn off. But underneath the jokes was panic, because the tone had shifted. This didn't feel like gossip. It felt like foreshadowing. Creators started stitching old interviews with new commentary, saying things like, "Why does this sound like a warning now? What if this wasn't a joke back then?" And once the internet decides the past is suspicious, the present doesn't stand a chance. Celebrities reacted without reacting. Suddenly everyone was about peace, about healing, about protecting energy. People who never posted quotes started posting quotes. People who lived online vanished. People who used to joke went silent. Fans clocked all of it, because nothing screams stress like a sudden spiritual awakening. Some names started trending with no accusations attached, just proximity. And proximity is dangerous in moments like this. And no proof needed, just association. The outraged crowd demanded answers. The cautious crowd demanded patience. The loudest crowd demanded blood. And none of them were listening to each other. Meanwhile, 50 Cent didn't clarify, didn't apologize, didn't soften his tone. He let the posts sit like open files on a desktop. Katt Williams didn't retract a word, didn't rush to explain himself, didn't backpedal. That silence acted like gasoline, because when people expect cleanup and get nothing, they assume the mess is real. The internet started saying things out loud that used to be whispered, that Hollywood protects itself, that certain behaviors were always an open secret, that accountability only shows up when the pressure gets too loud to ignore. And once those thoughts go mainstream, there's no stuffing them back into a corner. Even people who wanted nothing to do with the drama got dragged in by proximity. A photo here, a past collaboration there. Suddenly, everyone was guilty by screenshot. And brands were watching, networks were watching, because they don't wait for verdicts, they wait for vibes. And the vibe was radioactive. Fans started speculating about who might flip first, who might distance themselves publicly, who might suddenly remember things they forgot for years. Because in scandals like this, Loyalty expires fast. By the time the internet starts asking questions, the real conversations have already happened, behind closed doors, and that's exactly where this story shifted. From loud speculation to quiet consequence, because scandals don't wait for courtrooms to start changing behavior. They start rearranging rooms immediately. Suddenly, the energy changed. Not on timelines, but in absence. Invitations stopped coming. Phones rang less. Names that used to be attached to everything quietly vanished from flyers, panels, and surprise appearances. Nothing announced. Nothing explained. Just a slow, uncomfortable retreat. And the industry knows what that means. When the music keeps playing but certain people stop dancing, it's not because they got tired. It's because they're counting exits. Public perception had already begun doing what it does best, rewriting reality in real time. People stopped asking if more names were involved. They started asking which ones would surface first. That shift matters, because once the audience believes a storm is coming, every cloud looks guilty, and that pressure doesn't stay online. It seeps into meetings. It seeps into contracts. It seeps into relationships that were built on silence. Staying silent. Some celebrities rushed to distance themselves publicly. Old collaborations suddenly felt out of alignment. Friendships got rebranded as acquaintances. People started acting like they'd never been in the same room even when the photos said otherwise, and fans noticed, because nothing exposes panic like selective memory. Meanwhile, the original voices that lit the fuse didn't blink. 50 Cent didn't soften the message, didn't release a taken out of context explanation, didn't pretend the internet misunderstood him. That alone spoke volumes. Because when someone backs off, it suggests uncertainty. When someone stands firm, it suggests preparation. Katt Williams stayed exactly where he was. No chasing attention. No damage control tour. No attempt to steer the narrative. Just quiet confidence. The kind that says, I already said what I needed to say. And that calm did something dangerous. It made people wonder what he knows, not what he suspects. Because there's a difference between speculation and memory. And fans started feeling like this wasn't about prediction. It was about timing. That's when the conversation turned colder. Less jokes, more concern. People started asking what accountability actually looks like when it finally shows up. Who benefits from silence? Who paid the price for speaking too early? Because every scandal has two stories, the public one, and the one that explains why it took so long. And the longer this went unresolved, the more uncomfortable that question became. The industry tried to move on. New headlines, fresh distractions, another trending meltdown to redirect attention. But this story didn't disappear. It just went quiet. And quiet is dangerous, because silence isn't closure, it's suspense. Fans kept watching social media behavior like it was a stock market ticker. Who unfollowed who stopped liking posts, who suddenly disappeared. Every move got interpreted. Every absence felt loud. And here's the truth nobody wants to say, even if nothing else ever comes out publicly. This moment already changed things. Trust cracked. Images shifted. Careers felt the weight of suspicion without a single official statement. If this breakdown made you pause, rewind, or side-eye your screen like, nah, something ain't right, then congratulations, you're thinking exactly the way you're supposed to. Now don't sit there acting innocent. Smash that like button like it owes you money and just tried to duck you. Hit subscribe like you're locking in front row seats before the next name drops. And leave a comment. Because silence is cute until it starts looking suspicious. Tell me this, do you think this stops with one headline? Or are we watching the early trailers of something way bigger? Because the comment section is where the real trial happens. No scripts, no PR teams, just raw opinions and zero filters. And let's be clear, this channel doesn't do bedtime stories. Truth tattle is where whispers get aired out. Jokes turn into warnings. And conspiracy starts looking a little too accurate for comfort, while other channels tiptoe around the mess. We walk straight through it with the lights on. No safe takes. No fake shock. No pretending we didn't see what everyone else suddenly wants to ignore. If you want the breakdowns before the cleanup crew arrives. If you want context before the apology videos drop. If you want to stay ahead of the stories Hollywood hopes you forget. You already know what to do. Because scandals don't disappear, they wait. Receipts don't burn, they surface. And over here at Truth Tattle, we don't chase the truth. We let it trip over itself.